downloading today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. My name's John Ashley, a pseudonym of a realtor here in the great state of Arizona, here to help you with your real estate sales skills. Why? Well, it's just sort of my way to pay it forward for all the people who've given me the tips, the tricks, the things to say to get the contract signed when I needed it the most. Their only request of me, well, simply pay it forward, and this is my opportunity to you. Thank you so much for downloading today this episode of the Red Pill Investor, this special episode on how to be a better closer. On being a better closer. So let's just start off by defining what a closer really is. See, a closer, in my mind, is somebody who follows a preset plan. You know, it's not that guy or gal who's out there winging it. You know, they've actually thought this through. They've got a plan. They've got a systematic approach. They know exactly what they're going to do. It's a lot like being that final play on the Super Bowl. You know exactly what you're going to do, so does the other team. It's just a question of execution at that point. See, a closer is somebody who's professional about it, not an amateur. They follow a preset plan, and their mastery of that plan is knowing the rules and then outthinking their opponents, much like chess. And the better you know the rules, the better you know the law, the better you know the contract, the more you win. That's just the way it is. Now, except in our case, it's not a situation where we're here to defeat any opponent. No. Instead, it's rather to help them make better decisions. And in today's podcast, I'm going to share with you 3 tips on becoming a more effective closer. But before I do, let's check in with today's Executive One-on-One. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I'm here with Executive One-on-One Rodrigo Afanador. Rodrigo, are you there?
Yeah, hey Carl, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Great deal. Listen, I wanted to see if you happen to have a great Executive One-on-One tip that you'd feel comfortable sharing with some of the listeners today, something that they could use to help make maybe an extra buck or two in their business. What would you recommend from your perspective today, Rodrigo?
Well, I actually wanted just to share something that I learned this week with the Prospecting Academy.
Oh, okay.
Just the ability to tie in video squeeze pages and blogs all into like one big packet that, you know, it's gonna do a lot of good to drive traffic from a lot of different areas. Because you got the YouTube video, and you can put it up on Craigslist, got the blog, you got the squeeze page, so you have a lot of good keywords that will point you to the same information. And that would be the tip I would go is just, you know, get involved in that and learn how to leverage the content that we already have.
I think that's a great idea. Awesome. Good deal. All right. Well, listen, Rodrigo, you work up in the Asheville, North Carolina area. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. If somebody had a referral for the Asheville, North Carolina area, where would they get in touch with you to send a referral, or any questions that they might have, or any JV opportunities, or anybody who might want to lend you some money? Because I know that you're out there making a lot of great returns for your investors as well. What's a good number for them to reach you at?
Yeah, the best number to reach me at would be 828-974-1509.
Awesome. Great deal. Well, I'll certainly pass the word. Thanks for being on the tip today, okay?
Hey, absolutely. Thank you, Carl.
All right. You have a powerful sales day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into today's podcast on being a better closer. Point number 1. Understand what selling really is. Understand what selling really is. See, selling, you know, yes, there's a 5-step part of selling, the core competencies, but when you think about selling itself, what selling really is first, it's assumptive. You know, it's a lot of assuming things. Assuming that they want to sell, assuming that they want to buy, assuming that they want to sign the contract. I mean, you have to make a lot of assumptions in order for you to be a successful salesperson. So assuming is a big part of being a successful salesperson, and so it obviously is a big part of selling. Next would be obviously rapport building. The ability to have a customer feel comfortable with you in a situation where maybe it's not necessarily comfortable. Oh, you know what it's like. You're in that house where it's hot and the baby's crying and everybody's tired and it's upset because of something happened. Building that ability to rapport with someone, to have them feel comfortable sharing things with you is a skill that you need to work on and to be very good at sales. Obviously, the third thing, you'd have to qualify them for their needs, their wants, and their desires. Can you actually help them do whatever it is they say they're wanting to do? Whenever I think about the presentations that I go into, and you've seen them here on Twitter, and if you haven't, then you need to follow me on Twitter at Carl K. Realtor, so you can go ahead and see me on Periscope do these live presentations with actual sellers. You need to follow me there and see that. When you see that, you need to qualify them for their needs, wants, and desires so you can determine if you can even help them. The fourth thing you got to do, you got to present your services. How I do that, obviously, is with the pawn shop presentation. For me, as an investor, as a realtor, as an investing realtor, the pawn shop presentation makes perfect sense with a person, especially when you use it with a CMA presentation. A market analysis presentation, giving them an idea of what the true market value is of their home. When you combine the two of those, it's deadly. The fifth part of selling, obviously, is obviously the close. It's not any less important or any more important than any other part of the sales process. It's just being able to get them to put pen to paper. Oh, it's great if you have all these $1 million worth of mailing and you know how to do all these fantastic mailings and you can build up a business a certain size and you can scale it up. But what difference does it make if you can't convert? I mean, let's just be honest. All the big name people you listen to on a regular basis who talk about this business as wholesaling, oftentimes they hire professional salespeople to do the selling for them. Ask yourself, why is that? It's because they don't know how to close. Point number 6, handling objections. Not point number 6, but the sixth thing you got to do is handle objections. Because they're not going to agree with you every single time. Part of the selling process is understanding that they will have questions, and their questions are nothing more than objections that need to be answered. They're just questions. You need to be answering them. And then, of course, 7 is closing again. Once they've had that question answered, then now you sometimes got to ask them again, are you ready to go ahead and sign the contract? That's the critical part of selling, is being able to close again. Point number 2. How to become a better closer or being a better closer. The second thing you got to know, people don't sign contracts with the person who wants it the most. They sign it with the person who earns it. They don't sign a contract with the person who wants it the most. They sign it with the person who earns it. Understand, all selling begins with an assumption. Assume that they're going to set up an appointment with you. Assume that they will buy. I mean, this is a good deal, right? Right? Just assume that. It's a good deal, right? I mean, assume that they're going to buy. Assume that they're going to sign the contract. I mean, you already know that I'm the right buyer for this house, right? You've got to believe that in your head. If you're not already believing in your head that you're the right person for this home, why? Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that there would be anybody better than you? If you're an investor, if you're an investing agent, think about it. There's nobody better than you. Why? Because you want to buy it and you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, where a lot of people won't. Oh yeah, they'll talk about writing an offer, but they never will. Isn't that funny? See, when you think about it, being assumptive is a function of confidence. And you gain confidence when you drill, when you practice, and when you rehearse. See, to build rapport with people quickly without all these useless questions, simply match people's rate of speech, their tonality, and their mood. Think about it. When they're talking very, very quickly, and I need a quarter for some water for my dog, and they're, speaking very quickly from a New York accent, maybe you might want to talk like that too, because it might help them understand you a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe from the South, you might want to slow down a little bit. You want to take what they say and how they say it and match it. If you want to build if you want to build rapport quickly, match their rate of speech, their tonality, as well as their mood. See, ask important qualifying questions. If you want to become a better closer, ask important qualifying questions to earn that business. Like I said, they're not going to just give it away. To earn it, ask important qualifying questions. What's important about moving? Dig deep. Don't let them get off with some simple, we'd kind of like to do it answer. What's important about moving? How is that important to you? I mean, how does that get you to, by selling this house, how does that get you? Oh, I see. You want to sell it because of the estate sale. I see. And so then you'll be able to go ahead and split the money up and the kids will stop fighting. I get it. And ultimately, what does that do for you? Oh, I see. Give you some peace of mind. Makes sense. When you dig deep and ask important qualifying questions, you're going to start to build rapport at a level you never believed. Point number 3. A presentation is nothing more than just a series of questions that lead to a conclusion. That's it. That's all a presentation is. You don't have to psych yourself out about it. A presentation is nothing more than a series of questions that lead to a conclusion. Think about it. Questions are about them. Statements are about me. Okay? When we make statements, they're all about me, and us, right? When we're asking questions, it's all about them. When we ask questions, it's inclusive. It brings them into the conversation, asks their opinion. When we make statements, it's exclusive. We rule possibilities, people, and things out. Asking questions puts you in control of the presentation. See, people who ask questions, when you think about it, people who ask a lot of questions are thought of as wise. Let's just think about all those people you think of who are really, really smart in your life. Do they do a lot of talking or do they do a lot of asking? I mean, think about it. A person who does a lot of question asking is thought of as wise, but a person who's always running their mouth, they're thought of as a fool. Listen, at closing, okay, nothing, at closing, my mentor, Mike Ferry, he used to say that a closing is nothing more than a natural ending to a great presentation. That's all he ever used to tell me, right? A closing, right, is nothing more than a natural ending to a great presentation. So if you think about all the objections that there ever were, there's really only about 10. And if you can master those, and if you could learn just objection handlers for 3 of them, 3 for each of them, okay, so that there's probably only 10, and you could learn 3 for each one, and that's at most 30, right? If you could learn 30 objection handlers, you'd probably never have to worry about an objection the rest of your life. You see, real estate isn't meant to be hard. It's easy, it's effortless, and it's enjoyable when you have the confidence. See, in conclusion, closing isn't really that hard. It's just a skill that requires some effort and some time to acquire. But really, it is a skill that can be learned. And to begin with, you have to know what selling really is and what closing really fits into it. And then once you understand that, you know that people just don't sign contracts with the person who wants it the most. They sign with the person who earns it. And then when you simply ask questions that lead your customer to an obvious outcome that's beneficial to them, then you too will have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.
Someone